Hey, welcome back to another edition of Open Shutter, and we are live from the Niagara region with Michael out there. So, Michael, thanks for taking the time to jump on this thing.
Hey, my pleasure. Looking forward to it. Always good
Yeah,
to chat it up with fellow photographers. So it's
absolutely.
awesome.
How's your summer going, man?
It's going well. It's going
Yeah,
quickly, and
isn't it?
it's pretty toasty out there. But
Isn't it?
we're kind of managing. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
making the shooting. I've had to cancel a couple of shoots because of the temperature. I never really had to do
Really,
that before.
really, it's too
Yeah,
hot.
it is, and like we can manage as photographers maybe, but it's if the models are struggling because makeup starts kind of going and they're just not
Mm,
feeling it. It makes it hard to be in your element, right? So.
yeah, yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's been a scorcher, right? But I don't know. For me, I would always rather have a plus 40 than minus 40.
Well, that's true. This is very true. And that's why we have studio though too, right?
That's why you got studio. Are there some good studios out there by you? Are there some good studios out there by you?
There are. I actually have managed to get one in my place, which is super
Oh,
convenient. So I've
geez.
got one. Yeah, it's not massive, but it does the job for what I do. And
Yeah.
but before I had that one set up, there was a couple in Niagara that I was using. Unfortunately, they're not open anymore. But yeah, you got to kind of look for them. You want to find something that's sort of like when you're doing the kind of photography I am, it's more kind of, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of high end sort of contract. You're trying to keep the cost low, so you're looking for
Of
something
course.
that's somewhat affordable, but
Mm,
still spacious enough that you can work with, right? So,
yeah. That's the dream, though,
mhm.
isn't it? To have it in your
Yeah,
place. It's beautiful. You never.
it's kind of nice. I spent a lot of years lugging my big, massive Tupperware container with all my gear in it into
No,
these.
not anymore.
My studio in Toronto was on the second floor, so I had to carry it
Oh,
up a flight
no.
of stairs.
You need that caddy. You need like that photo caddy almost, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
So,
for
but
sure.
you manage, you manage.
No, for sure. So yeah, for
Mhm.
people watching, listening, like, what do you want people to like know about you?
Yeah, so well, I've been kind of dabbling in photography for a while now. I'd say probably a decade, sort of on and off.
Yeah.
Um, I sort of started out, believe it or not, doing roller derby.
No way.
Yeah,
Like
so
shooting? Like, what do you mean roller derby?
I had a friend of mine that was part of the roller derby sort of clan. So I became sort of their pseudo team photographer,
Wow.
as green as I was. And so imagine, your first crack at photography being inside a very poor lit arena, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
And it's fast moving. So, but it was fun. It was a good entry level. It got me kind of started on understanding, the dynamics of exposure and all that kind of stuff, and dealing with high speed and low light and
Wow.
all that. So it was an interesting, beginning to the experience. And then I kind of went into doing different things. I didn't live too far from the Toronto Zoo,
Yeah.
so I got into going in there a fair bit. But then I got a little depressed because the animals were starting to get to me because they're just, some of them were just. It's hard to watch, right?
Yeah.
Because when
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
alone in their enclosure and they're
Yeah.
just pacing back and forth, it kind of hits you. You're like,
Hmm.
yeah, I can't really do this anymore. So
Hmm.
and then I got into doing a little bit of live music. I did a little bit of comedy shows in
Yeah.
Toronto. So that kind of got my name out there a little bit. Got to meeting some people and getting out there in the city and that. And then when COVID hit, I just kind of went on a bit of a binge and started reaching out to a ton of people on Facebook,
Yeah.
while we're all kind of hidden in our bubbles, right? And
Yeah.
making connections, meeting people, having conversations about photography and that sort of thing. And
Hmm.
that led to just sort of getting some shoots going, some TFP shoots going, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, it started from there, and then just kind of evolved from there
Wow.
to kind of expanding and building your portfolio, which we're all trying to do at some point,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And yeah, and then kind of got myself to this point pretty much.
Wow. Yeah. I always find COVID's always like the like kind of like the game changer for a lot of people because it's like you're stuck at home, you can't really do much, so now you're kind of
Yeah,
like got all this time, so it's
yeah,
either you do nothing or you do something, right? So that's kind of like a common theme with like people that come on. It's like it's always that time frame. So I always like thought like, what if that like never happened and you just kind of like didn't kind of make the pivot, right? It's a kind of like a fascinating
yeah.
thing to like think about sometimes, right? Yeah, it was a terrible time, but man, I really kind of used that time wisely, right? So it's good. It's
Yeah,
good. It's good that you did too, right?
yeah. And that's
Yeah.
a good word, right? I think a lot of people pivoted in some way.
Yeah.
somehow, right, during COVID, because you kind of had to, like we weren't following the normal path because we couldn't at that point. So you had to do something else, right?
Yeah.
And so you had to just, figure something out, right? And go.
Yeah, it's fascinating because like that
Yeah.
spark was always there. We just needed like a pandemic to kind of like take
Yeah.
action on it,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah.
bizarre because it's like
Yeah.
you could take action tomorrow. Like you don't make a life-changing event to
Yeah.
make something, So it's always,
Yeah.
we're just chatting
Yeah.
offline about I was talking about like you don't really need to ask permission from anybody in 2025. You just kind of like do it.
Yep.
Because you don't have
absolutely.
to go to school, especially with like you're in the arts, you're a photographer, you're a video guy, you're a painter, whatever like the medium is. Like you just kind of have to like take the initiative, right? Which I guess sometimes is hard for a lot of people because sometimes we wait for things to happen to us for some reason. Like we just think that one random day like the phone's gonna ring and they're gonna offer me a job somewhere, but really it's you really need to think about it like. No, it's like no one really knows who I am, and if I don't do anything, then nothing's going to change, right? So
you got to go at it.
You need to like kind of like you did. Like, you kind of like reached out to people, and I'm sure people were, very like upfront and open and all that, which is great, right? So
yeah, no, like it's like the law of averages, right? It's kind of like the old. Knocking on the door for sales, right? Your percentages are pretty low, but if you knock on enough doors, you're going to get people that might be interested and have a conversation. And there's still people that I met back then that I'm still friends with, right? Like we may have shot a couple of times, but we're just kind of still friends, which is kind of cool, right? So it's But you're right. Sometimes you need a bit of an odd sort of catalyst to just sort of trigger things, and
it's a weird. It's a weird human thing that sometimes it's like we just think stuff's gonna happen like out of thin air, and maybe that's because like social media and we just see all these highlight reels and we just think that like it just happens to people overnight. But sometimes these people are working like like a decade, like you, right? Like they're working decades to like get to where they are, right? So it's a fascinating mindset.
I wish I discovered it a lot earlier though, because I didn't. I wasn't involved with any arts growing up. I was more of a sports guy, and I didn't think I had any sort of artistic semblance of a gene in my body, right? So, so when I found photography, I was like, oh, you know what, this is kind of fun, and I seem to be doing all right at it. Had a bit of an eye. So I'm like, all right, oh, cool. Let's kind of work with this, right? So right now, it's a hobby, which is awesome, a bit of a passion. Right. But yeah, eventually, it might kind of turn into more than that. But still got a day job right now. It's paying the bills, so that's kind of a good thing.
That's the best way to do it. the least pressure the possible. At least you can still enjoy it and kind of work on the craft. Because like people always think that, oh, let me just quit my job and go full time into whatever. It's like, don't do that. Like you may not even like going full time into like your passion because like. It's a lot of work because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? So, I mean, I think people have the illusion of, oh, let me just quit my job and do this. It's like, well, not so fast, right? So I think the best way to do it is to like do it with the least pressure possible and like when no one's watching, so you can really perfect what you do. Yeah. Right. So when you go full time, when you got your name out there, people know, oh, Michael, I know exactly what he does because that's your reputation out there, right? So you don't need to. You don't need to kind of like work harder to like say, oh, I do all this great stuff. It's like, oh, I know who you are. You're out there. Yeah. So it's like that's kind of like the dream, right? Yeah. Yeah. So you're right because I was listening to one of your other podcasts at one point. You guys are having a conversation about either niching or going generic, that being diverse and that sort of thing. And it's not always a bit of an interesting thing. But like right now, I guess I feel like I have a bit of the luxury of dabbling literally with as many things as I can, like trying, if I see anything online, I'm like, I want to try that. I want to do that thing. Like, what do I need to do that? Right. And but there are some things that I feel a little bit more kind of passionate about as terms of what I might lock in on once I need to do that. So, I think couples is a real interesting genre, I think is what I would probably dive into. I've tried different things. I've got, I do all the solo portraits and headshots and stuff like that. I've done couples. I've done some sensual stuff, kind of the spectrum, trying a lot of low key lighting and ring lighting and color gels, like all the stuff, right? Like even like Snoot is probably the most recent things that I got that I love. So that's been a really fun
kind of technique that I've been playing around with. And
Okay.
so it's been a
Yeah.
lot of fun. So yeah, that's some of the couple stuff there I see that.
Yeah. That's your couples page. So like,
Yeah.
what's do you like what's kind of like your sales pitch for these people, or like what kind of makes you unique amongst different people out there, you know?
Well, for the couples thing in particular, I haven't done as much of that as I've been kind of wanting to in the last little while. But
Yeah.
I had a well, I still have it, I guess, but I've got a concept that I've been wanting to really pursue. I've done it with a couple of couples, but it's a little bit more involved than just a shoot, right? So
Okay.
without getting into a lot of detail, but at the beginning of the shoot, it involves just a little bit of an introduction, like a gradual sort of introduction of the couple.
Right.
So they don't just immediately start together,
Yeah.
arm in arm, doing whatever. So I make it very gradual with a lot of like just, kind of breathing, just kind of getting self reset and all that kind of stuff. And there's even a questionnaire that I had put together at one point that I've done with a couple of couples where I'll get them to fill it in individually prior to the shoot, and then send it to me without showing each other their answers.
Yeah.
And then I use that to kind of work it into the shoot, and it helps me kind of navigate, how they feel about each other in certain ways and that sort of thing.
Wow.
So
It's like a game show almost, man.
Yeah, it is. It's but it's involved, right? So I've had a couple of couples that have done it with me, and it's been a lot of fun. So it's actually the dancers that you're showing there on the right hand side there, the ones with the black and white, that's Evan and Evan. They were a couple that I did it with. They're amazing. They're actually both dancers, performers.
Cool.
And so they were a lot of fun. I've done a couple of shoots with them. But yeah, they're a lot. Ashley and Evan, so they're pretty cool.
Oh, really?
So that's my really deep sort of vision. And of course, from there, going to couples resorts might be an option at some point in time, and trying to sell, into that sort of realm. It's very, kind of a vision sort of at this point, but
that's
it's certainly something that could be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because they would want photos at these resorts.
Yeah, and I've contacted a couple, and they always say they've got like, their standard sort of wedding photographer, but I need to get better at kind of explaining to them what I'm doing is a little different than that. And then just kind of let them know. Like, I'd have to really work with them on it and just kind of show them. I'd have to do a few kind of samples and kind of free runs probably.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be a lot of fun because I love the dynamic of a couple, right? Because you don't have just one person with energy. You've got two, and usually they like each other. So
ideally, on a good day.
So that's the idea. And if you can take them from being like, at a decent level to a bit more of even a better kind of connection between them, even better.
Yeah.
Or if they're maybe been together a long time and they're trying to rekindle things. It might be something to kind of just get them back to where they were when they started and just reconnect some stuff, right? So I don't know.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're also stepping outside their comfort zone if they've never done this before, right?
100%.
It's like, just act natural and the camera's on. Like, okay, it's the most awkward thing ever, right? So
and together, but that can be good and bad, right? So that can help you. That can help them both by being together, going through it.
Right.
Or it could be, but at the beginning, it usually doesn't take long though. It usually just takes a little bit. Like the first set is usually getting the blood flowing, get the jitters out. And then usually by then, you do a wardrobe change, and then now you kind of go after it, right? So
interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. It's couples, man. I mean, it's quite the market, I would imagine.
I think there's a lot that can be done there, right? And down the road, who knows if I can combine that with some travel as well. Like we're talking, the absolute sort of dream, right? Is being able to travel to different resorts and kind of do this kind of thing would be pretty awesome, right? So, but baby steps,
worldwide, worldwide.
Yeah, who knows, right?
You never know, especially you go down to.
This podcast might be the trigger right here, right? So this.
Hey! I want my royalty check if you make it big.
Absolutely.
If I see you out there on billboards, man, I need a royalty check, right?
I never forget my friends. So
yeah. Well, I mean, again, you just never know. Again, the great thing about living in 2025. You just never know who's watching when. You never know,
Yeah.
who's going to contact you on Instagram. So do you like approach people, or do people approach you, or it's a combination of both?
Well, it's kind of a bit of both now, right? It's kind of like we kind of got into it a little bit offline was just about the evolution. I find of starting out in photography is quite interesting because how you have that collab TFP thing, right? And everybody starts out at some point where you're kind of looking to just get TFP shoots or collab shoots with whoever. And as you kind of start building a portfolio up, then you can start kind of like being more selective about who you work with, obviously, and that sort of thing. And then you get into the realm of actually being able to charge for your shoots, right? So I've had people come to me and ask me what my rates are and all that kind of stuff. So when you're kind of hovering in the middle now, like which kind of where I am, it kind of like, so it really depends on who it is that I'm working with and that sort of thing. But I love working with new people that I've never really done a lot of photo shoots before. It might be one of the more rewarding pieces of it, because seeing how they evolve from the beginning to the end of a shoot is pretty cool. And then when they see the pictures and you see their eyes light up, it's pretty cool, right?
It's the dream.
So it's pretty cool that way. But so I don't know. I find it interesting how, I don't think there's any other dynamic between a model and a photographer where you can either have a model charging a photographer or a photographer charging a model, and it can either situation can happen, or it can be a flat out collab, right? Kind of right down the middle. And there's not many other sort of kind of relationships like that can kind of go either direction. So it is an interesting dynamic, and but it's good. I like it. You find your spot, right? You find your place in there. And so when I'm reaching out to people, it's usually if I'm trying to work on a technique, and I think they might be a good fit for it, or something to that effect. Or sometimes models will come back that I've already worked with before, which I love, because then we know each other, and we can say, hey, by the way, I got this new thing I want to try. Do you want to come in? Like, absolutely, let's do that, right? So so it's a combination. I still reach out to people because I like meeting new people and shooting with new people as well. So it's a bit of a mixed bag at this point, but it's nice to have a little bit of you can kind of choose your way a little bit to some degree, right? So
exactly, kind of like only kind of having that balance of like more control versus less control. Like you work with someone that it's not really a cold call, like it's warmer, like you can have, I guess it's less tense, or it's more fun, or there's less anxiety, there's less tension. Like you don't have to work so hard about making sure the other person is having a good time, right? So there's always kind of like that, kind of like
absolutely,
that thought in the back of your head.
And I think anybody that's worked with me knows that and you know this already, because we had a little conversation about me being such a stickler about my photography name. But I'm a big communication guy, and I like to respect people's time, and I like it to be mutual, right? So I just like for people to be upfront and just sort of keep the communication open, be upfront with each other. If you can't make it, let me know. That kind of thing. But I find that whenever we actually get together for a shoot, we actually know each other pretty well already. We've already shared inspo. We've already shared oftentimes wardrobe. So we have a bit of an idea how it's going to go, what techniques we're going to go after.
Right.
So even when they show up and it's the first time, there's a level of familiarity there, right? So that we can kind of hit the ground running to some degree. Look at the wardrobe options, figure out a plan, and then just start shooting, right? So
it's not just a transaction. Like you're trying to get to know someone, right? Like
100%.
It's
100%.
I think when you respect people's time, you want to make sure that it's a mutual fun experience for both parties. Like I think people will say, hey, that's cool. Like I could really work with this person, right? Because maybe that person had a bad experience one other time, and maybe they got their guard up, right? So I think always being like just having good manners and just being on time and doing all these little things that people may think not matter, I think goes a long way, especially in today's world where everyone's so like busy and distracted, and like people don't respond to texts and all this stuff. So you can be just like that 1% better. I think people will like remember that for next time.
Yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean?
it makes perfect sense. And like one
Yeah.
thing I'll say all the time is that life happens. It just does.
Yeah.
And when you're doing, oftentimes, collaborative TFP shoots, a lot of the times, of course, it's like selling something on Kijiji for $0, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to have a little bit of, kind of, some people might be a little bit more wavy about committing and that sort of thing, but you can usually detect those pretty early. And I try and shy away from that for the most part, because you can usually kind of tell pretty early. But I think for the most part, I've had great experiences. I've met so many, good people, amazing artists, and talented people, even though they've never done it before. By the time we're done, they see the work, they're really happy with it. And it's fun. It's rewarding, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like people don't know until they try, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
No,
don't really
exactly.
know. You don't really know. Don't assume that you may not like it, because you might actually like it. So you just can't.
Yeah.
You just gotta put yourself out there. So you never know.
And then, and the one interesting thing too with me having an interest in couples is a lot of the time is if I'm working with a model and I'll notice like on their Instagram or whatever that they might be in a relationship, and I'll be like, hey, what do you think about bringing your guy in, right? And almost every time they're kind of like, it's not his thing, right? Or he's too shy, or he's this or that.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, it's fine, but like just kind of plant the seed. Seed, and tell them that would score them some points and that kind of stuff. Work on his guilt a little bit, and then see what happens, right? And then I always offer, if you want to get on a call, three of us get on a call so we can get to meet me. It might help, and so I'm always trying to find a way to kind of expand just even that relationship, right? With the model, kind of maybe into their relationship as well if it works, and that. So it's kind of a nice way to kind of segue into it, right?
Yeah, the guy may think he's too macho for her or something. What, me in a photo shoot? Like, no way. Like,
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, like another thing that I'll say every time I have a shoot is that my face belongs behind the camera. So I could totally relate when somebody is shy about doing a photo shoot, because I don't think I could do it.
No way. Yeah, you never know, man.
Well, well, what's funny is that when I had the studio in Toronto, I kind of co-rented the studio with another photographer, really good guy. And one day we decided to go in there to do some testing. We just wanted to try out some lighting and do different things. And it wasn't until we got into the studio, we both looked at each other and kind of said, I guess we actually got a model for each other.
Yeah. Who goes first kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So we both took our turns being the awkward model.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So
you got the lighting out and everything, or what?
Oh yeah. We did some funky stuff. We got the color gels out and try to do some stuff, and some of them turned out pretty cool.
That's hilarious. Where are those photos at? Are they in the vault?
They might be. Yeah. I know that he used one of his for his profile pic for a while, so that was kind of.
There you go.
That's the ultimate flattery, right, for photographers when you send your pictures. Yeah.
You can send that invoice later.
Yeah. Exactly.
There you go. That's fine. Well, again, you never know, man. You never know. That's great, though.
But it helps. But honestly, it actually helps with having that empathy, right? With models when they're expressing that their comfort level is a little bit off and all that kind of stuff. Like, listen, I get it. You know what I mean? So just kind of go with it. Just sort of like let yourself. And they're like, I need you to guide me. I'm like, okay, cool. I will guide you as much as you need to be guided. Right? So I have no problem guiding. I'll give you all the tips. I'll tell you what you need to know. But then when I see you move and I see you start flowing, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you just kind of do your thing. But I want you to play, like try things. Yeah. And the one thing that I've got in my studio now, again, it's a very simple studio, but I do have like an old, like a monitor that I used to have that I kind of just flipped it portrait wise and I connected it to my camera, just an HDMI. It's nothing fancy, no tethering or anything. It's just a straight HDMI connection. Yeah. But the models love it. Being able to see themselves while I'm shooting is it's a game changer. Like they absolutely and I don't have to go to them after shots and show them on my little 4-inch screen. I can just play it back on the monitor, and then they can also see it as I'm shooting, right?
Yeah. So because they feel good, because they see themselves.
Absolutely. And when they put their arm up here, they put their arm here, or I do this, or they smile a certain way. They're like, oh man, I really like it when I do that. I never knew I could do that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So like, okay, we'll do more of that. Right. So
I mean, it's a good tip, man. It's a good tip.
Yeah.
It's a small little thing, but it's a big thing sometimes, especially when you're working with someone that may not be fully comfortable, right? When they see themselves on a bigger screen, boom.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. So it's fun. Like I really like working with newer people. And one thing you asked me about
Yeah.
as well was, when people come for advice and that sort of thing, right?
Mm.
And again, I certainly don't see myself as any sort of expert, but I know that I
Hmm.
started out, at some point in time being totally green and not have any idea what the exposure triangle was and all that other kind of stuff. And then you eventually start learning through the wonders of Google
Hmm.
and YouTube.
Hmm.
But there's a couple of things I've always kind of shared with people when they're asking me whether they have a camera or even if they're playing around with their phone. Like if we start with a real basic kind of just with their phone, most phones these days have a manual mode,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you can mess around with the shutter speed, right?
Hmm.
And it's the easiest way to kind of see what shutter speed does. If
Yeah.
you're looking at a sunset, for example, right?
Yeah.
Broad daylight, you can make it look like it's nighttime in a heartbeat. And then
Yeah.
most people be like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" Right?
Yeah.
So there's like little things like that, and like whatever gear you have, and if you've got your first entry level DSLR or
Hmm.
mirrorless or whatever, and I'm like, learn that thing as much as you possibly can. Look up YouTube videos for that model of camera, and learn everything you can about what that camera does,
Yeah.
right? And then that will help you just get that comfort level with the camera to start with, and then all the other stuff kind of comes kind of with it, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's I don't know. I find that plus and then there's the whole kind of going from auto to manual,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So going auto to manual, I think, is an easy way to do it. Is what I typically ask, and I might be not be the only one that does this, obviously, but it's worked for me. Is that take a particular subject, shoot it in auto,
Yeah.
look at the settings,
Yeah.
leave everything the same. Look at the settings on that auto shot. Flip it to
Right.
manual. Set
Right.
all those settings the way that it's showing in that shot.
Yeah.
Take the shot in manual, and then start playing around.
Oh yeah.
Start adjusting the aperture, so, kind of thing, right?
Good
And
tip.
then you'll learn. You'll see what it does. Like if it jack up the ISO, it's going to get real bright all of a sudden, right? So
Yeah.
it makes it kind of more real than just looking at a video and seeing, okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, if you increase the ISO, it does this. If you increase the shutter speed, it does that, and whatever else,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. I always learn by doing. Like I need to
absolutely.
I need to actually do it to actually I always give like the example of like learning how to drive a car. You can be in driving school forever, but until you actually are driving the car, you don't really know how to drive the car. So you need
Yeah.
to really, especially with especially with photography, like you can just use stuff around the house. You want to, play around with like aperture, just use like something in your kitchen, like an apple against like a window,
Yeah.
and you'll
Yeah.
just see it that way, right? It can be
Yeah.
so very simple. Like you don't need an elaborate set with all of these models and all these lights to like
No.
start. Like you just need to just start with like stuff around the house and then just see it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just like the low bar to entry, and then from there, like you're gonna figure out if you actually like it or not, because you may not like it.
Yeah. I know we assume that everybody likes it because we love it so much, right?
Yeah,
But
you
you're
just
right.
assume, right?
It may not
Yeah.
be for everyone, right? So
Well, I mean,
yeah.
people just want to go back to their phone and don't want to be bothered with like learning all this stuff because, there is some level of knowledge that you have to get. So people just don't want to be bothered, right? So it's like, oh, I have
Mm-hmm.
to, so it's just especially with like gear, like yeah, just use like your phone with a manual setting or like a low level. Like I learned like on like a Nikon 5300 or something like that. So you start there and then you just work yourself up, right? Because
Yeah.
I think sometimes we use gear as a crutch where if I just have this or if I just buy that or if I wait for this to come out, then I'll be able to do all this stuff. It's like, yeah, probably. But,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait. You can start just like playing around with stuff now, right? Because
Oh, absolutely. And I went through the same thing too. I'm like, oh, because I started with a 3500 or 3200 or something like that, right? And I remember thinking, oh man, if I only had a full frame, you know what I mean?
this. Oh. And then we got the
And then
full frame. Then you can wait for the next model to come out.
yeah,
Never
then you
ends.
need a mirrorless, and then you're
And I
like,
need
once you
this.
have the mirrorless, then
I
you
need
need
the
this,
lights. Then
right?
then you need the gimbal. And then you need then you need the audio.
Yeah.
Then you need. So it never like really ends. Like even I mean, I'm sure even like the top people and like whatever kind of niche still have like that gear syndrome. It's I just have this or have that, and
Mm-hmm.
so I always tell people just like first of all like just use what you have and just figure out like what you actually like to do.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be fun. It's not to
Yeah.
be so.
No.
It's not to be so. It's not supposed to be like so like stressful for people. Oh, I got to get this banger shot because I keep seeing it on Instagram. You know, like the asteroid or meteor shower the last night or whatever. It's like, oh, everyone's trying to get the shots, right? So, you know, what you gotta do.
And the one thing that people don't realize too, and this is like maybe a little bit of a you know, back end secret, but a lot of the creative shots, at least for me anyways, a lot of the creative shots that end up being the biggest bangers are total flukes, total trial and error.
Always, man.
You know what I mean?
Planned.
It's just like
it's never planned.
there was like 30 shots, and that was the one. And there was 29 others that totally did not work, but that one there made it worthwhile, right? And that's kind of the thing that maybe people don't always see, because they only see that one that's posted on Instagram. Right. and they think that every shot is kind of like a banger.
Everyone, as soon as I touch the camera, I don't even turn the camera on. I take great photos.
It just happens.
I'm that good. I don't even have to turn the camera on, man. It's it's an interesting mindset, but I mean, like you just need to like have fun and just kind of like not put so much pressure on yourself. I mean, it could be really anything in like the arts, because like, I don't know, I think we're so used to like wanting to go viral overnight, right? So that's because kind of the world we live in, right? But never really happens that way. It's kind of like, it always happens when you least expect it, I find. Like, you know, whatever, you know, it could be anything. It's like, it always happens. It's kind of like, you know, you're looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend. Like whenever you're not looking, boom, it happens. It's kind of that kind of analogy, right? So
no, you're right.
You can't really force life. You know what I mean? You can't really force life. You just have to like kind of let it unfold. So and be patient, right? But patience is not so common these days. But
and you got to give things a try. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned to you when we were getting started as well, about how I'm starting to dabble in video now. And now I feel like I'm starting all over again. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like, oh, here we go.
That's
and back to square one on video, and trying to figure out, you know, how that all works. Like with trying to incorporate as much as I can from you know, my photography, obviously, but such a different animal altogether.
Oh, it is. I know it is. I took like a 6-week summer course in like 2018 at the Toronto School of Art for like video editing, because again, I couldn't watch YouTube videos. I had to be in a classroom where I could ask like an instructor. So that's how I learned that. That's how I learned like the basics of like how to actually do something from A to Z.
Right.
So I mean, there's always ways to learn, but I mean, you just have to find your way to learn. And video, like you really need to enjoy making video. Otherwise it becomes a real pain in the butt. You got to really enjoy it.
I'm trying to fill that out right now. So I don't know yet how much I'm going to love it. I might, but it's when it's really new, it's hard to really, you know, separate the frustration of learning something new with the passion of learning, you know? And so I'm still feeling that out right now, but I'm going to give it a go for a while. But but I'd like to obviously work that into my other stuff too, with my couples and all that kind of stuff too.
Just different packages, right? You can do a photo video package.
100%. Yeah. So
you know, and it doesn't have to be so like crazy involved, like cinematic films. Like you just make some really cool reels for people.
Yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't take very much. You just got to kind of do it right, you know, just kind of like play around, get some footage, piece it all together, and then and then you got something to work with. Right?
So were clients like asking you before
for video?
Yeah, like were they video too?
Not really, but it kind of comes up, but it's not really, you know, kind of an in-depth conversation yet, at least anyway. Although I didn't offer it either, because I didn't really have the ability to do it before. But now I'm gonna you know, kind of try to. That's funny because like you know, when you put it on the gimbal too, it's hard to do both. You can't. I have to almost do.
You almost need two bodies. We need two bodies, two lenses.
Well, I still have my old 610, which I can pull that out, and I can still probably use that. It's still not bad. It's it's still a full frame. It's a low end, but it would still, you know, for an outdoor, I think it might still, you know, kind of be okay. And then put the mirrorless on the gimbal. But yeah, I'll have to figure that out. But I have options. I have options now. So
it's always good to have options, especially like when you're working with clients. I mean, you never know. What someone's going to ask for, and
if the demand's there, right, you just got to find a way to meet it, right, and good for that. So once you understand it,
and almost like even like find out like what other people are doing with modeling with couples, what kind of video they're doing, and maybe just kind of learn from that a little bit too, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe they're doing some cool stuff.
I'm a big advocate for not reinventing the wheel. So if other people are doing it well, figure out how they're doing it, and then kind of springboard off of that, right?
Yeah, and then you just add your own spice to it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
This is what I do, right? So, yeah, you never know, man. You never know where it's gonna go. I mean, it's always good to have like ideas. Right? I always find like having the ideas almost like it's a tough part, right? Like, where do you get your ideas from for like shoots or like concepts or themes?
So I am a big Pinterest user.
I keep hearing that, man. Pinterest is a very undervalued site.
Dude,
a lot of people are telling me Pinterest.
Yeah, well, for stills, like it's an absolute for me. It's an absolute go-to. I don't know for video, it's going to be a whole different animal, but for like I have a mood board that I've pieced together in Pinterest that I share with people that I'm, especially when I'm doing first-time shoots with models. I've got pretty extensive mood board in there for mostly couples. And then I got it. I had a bunch of boards for different kind of couples, kind of shoots. And then I had one for individuals, which is, was supposed to be kind of more secondary. And then I started like building sections within my individuals one. Now that one's kind of blown wide open because every different technique that I kind of play around with is in there. Right. So, but no, and then I just tell them, I go through it. Anything you like, take a snap of it, send it to me. And I'll keep track of them, and then we'll have our list of inspo to work from when we shoot. So I'm telling you, it's without Pinterest, it would be a whole lot tougher because at least they can see things that they, that they like, and then if they want to try and reproduce it, and then we do it, or even if it's just kind of like a starting point,
Sure.
Like we don't need to duplicate it completely, but as long as it's kind of like, oh, let's start with that and see where it goes, right? And then just kind of go from there. But Pinterest is definitely a go-to for me.
Interesting. And then you go based on seasons, like for example, like Halloween. Like you ever do Halloween concepts?
I'm not a big theme guy.
No.
I had some models ask for some stuff like that, and I've done it. But I don't tend to be as much of a theme guy in terms of seasons or events or holidays. That kind of, I don't mind doing it. It's just not something that I do. Oh, can't wait for Halloween. You know what I mean?
Like Valentine's Day's coming up, guys. All right.
I'm not that guy, right? Like maybe I should. But like if a model comes to me and says, hey, you know what, something's coming up for whatever, for Halloween or Christmas, and I want to do a Christmas shoot. Let's do it. For me, it's like, okay, they're going to bring a wardrobe that's going to be Christmas-y. I'm not going to set up an entire Christmas, studio for them.
Welcome to the North Pole.
I might grab a couple things at the dollar store or something with a Merry Christmas sign. I don't know. But that's about as far as I'll go. But no, it's fun to mix it up. But I like more kind of playing around with all the different techniques and like all the long exposure stuff is a ton of fun with light painting and that kind of stuff, which is, I dabbled in it. I haven't mastered it, but it's fun to try that stuff because it's very trial and error. And you need a model that's willing to be patient and play along, right? So
you would, I guess.
Sure.
Especially when it's warm outside. It's not winter.
Yeah, well, that's mostly studio stuff. But the thing that I've been doing a little bit more lately, though, which I just discovered in my camera, which is the multi-exposure thing, like in-camera multi-exposure. Didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it does.
So I was playing around with that. I'm like, this is kind of cool. You can actually do it right in camera. So that's been a kind of a fun fun thing. But I like how it also captures each picture individually. So you can, if the blend doesn't work in the camera, you can always kind of do it afterwards, right? In post, and then use whatever blend you want, right? That might work better. But no, it's a fun idea. You can do a lot of fun stuff with it. Do some pretty cool, kind of effects with it and that kind of thing. So.
Is there something posted on your Instagram with the long exposure stuff?
There's some multi-exposure stuff on my main account.
Let me see if I can find one.
Yeah. There's there should be some fairly close to the top of my main account. That was a cool. So
I know, right? This one.
Amberly, she pulls that out at the end of
Like,
our shoot. She's like, "Oh, I have this thing. Should we try this?" I'm like, "What?"
yeah, you should.
I'm like, "Yes, put that on." So that ended up being like
Oh,
the highlight of our shoot. So that was pretty cool. That's cool.
crazy, man.
As a really, and that reel kind of did it some justice too, which is nice. So it's nice when the reel actually kind of gives it,
Yeah.
an extra bit of,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was a pretty
Cool, man.
But for the multi-exposure, if you scroll down, you're gonna see probably Julia. Keep going. There's some snoot work there. Keep going. I'm getting close.
Yeah.
Keep going. Where is it? Well, actually, that one there is. If you scroll back up, that James Bond one was actually multi-exposure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
So that was one shot of me shooting kind of through her legs, and then it took another shot of her kneeling, and then I combined them together. So that was actually through a multi-exposure, right? So that's one example. But there's one I have with Julia where there's a red and blue. So I basically took one shot with the blue gel, another shot with a red, and then combined the two. You might have missed it. That's multi-exposure there too, actually, right there in the middle. Yeah, you can see. So, but anyway, so there's different things you can do with it. It's just it's fun to get the ideas because like the model will have an idea, then I'll have an idea, and it's like combine the two. And I'm not sure where the one is I'm thinking about. Maybe it's on my it should be on here though. I think there's a blue and a red. Anyways, if you don't see it, that's fine.
Cool.
Maybe it's on the. That's got to be coming. I think it's coming up here. Keep
going. Yeah. This one.
No, that was actually just a long exposure. That was just a little bit of a flick of the camera, which is actually a pretty cool shot too.
Yeah.
But it's.
I like this one a lot too.
That's the snoot. I love the snoot so much.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because there's so many, I've got like 25 attachments on the snoot, right? So you just put all these different, patterns on there, and then you just kind of do stuff with it. So it's
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. But so there's lots of things to play with, and that kind of keeps it fresh, right?
Yeah, kind of keeps it fun too. Right? It's not so just kind of like you're not working in a factory. Like you can do different things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly. And like I say, the outdoors, I've been trying to get some outdoor shoots in this summer.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few in, but they tend to be still more so kind of in studio. It depends on what we're trying to do, right? Some things you need to be in studio to do if you're trying to do something in particular.
Yeah, 100%.
But the outdoor ones are fun too, especially beach shoots and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
no, it's always good. It's always good to kind of like having those options, right? I think having options is great, especially when it comes to what you want to have a certain look. Yeah, you need to be able to like be, let's just go to my studio, which is which is a great option to have, right? So great,
The only thing is that it's for people that are local, it's good. But if I do, there's still some people that I work with that are further up on the horseshoe, right, in Oakville, Mississauga. So sometimes if it makes more sense, we can try and meet midway and do an outdoor, right? So I can do some of that, but I can't kind of be away for too long. Because of my little anchor who just actually started barking a few minutes ago. So I can only be away from. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Man. No, it's great. I mean, like, do you set yourself goals for like the year to like achieve, or it's kind of like a month-to-month basis for you?
Yeah, that's not one of my strengths. So.
I want to be rich and famous by 2025.
Yeah. But you know what? In all seriousness, though, it's actually something that I've been wanting to do a little bit more of because I've been kind of like just sort of. I don't shoot that often because again I've got a day job and so I'll shoot maybe once or twice at the most a week, if that. On average, once a week. And it's either mostly on the weekends because the weekdays are tough, unless it's people that are local because,
Right.
because evenings are tough just because of work and all that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to kind of narrow things in a little bit now and contain things a little bit and trying to work towards more paid shoots.
Yeah.
And do that kind of stuff. Obviously, it's the ideal for everybody.
Yeah.
But but again, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to run a business, is different than if you're just trying to be creative and create stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the So it depends on what I'm trying to do at any given time. But if I have clients that are approaching me, right? So. So that's kind of what, kind of go with the flow at this particular point.
Sure. Which is good, right? Yeah. I mean, it's important, especially if people want to go full time with it. It's important to know like what is that they actually want to do and not be so, and not just being in it for the paycheck, right? Because I feel that if you're just in it for the paycheck, it's good. Like I think the spark's going to die out pretty quick, right? Because it's not really your thing; it's kind of their thing. I mean, it's fun and it's cool, but I mean, if you're just working for the client every time, it could get a little bit lonely, So
no, you're right. We talked about that offline too.
Yeah,
it does change the dynamic when you're working just doing creative stuff versus like if you're running a business and you're because again, like you said, if the customer's paying you, it's going to be primarily them driving the shoot right, in terms of what the content, unless they're asking for your advice, obviously. But they'll be driving the content. Whereas if you're doing a collab or whatever, then it's usually a coordinated effort, right?
Yeah, usually.
Kind of thing. So, So, and again, if you're a paying photographer, which there are some, then you would pretty much be calling the shots for the model if you're paying the model, right? And that's a whole other kind of realm, but
I was at an art show over the long weekend. And I had the exact same conversation with a sculptor.
Mm-hmm.
She was telling me how she had all these clients and then she was making all this money, but man, she wasn't fulfilled. Yeah, no, I get it. Like it's not your jam, right? So now I'm just making stuff for me, and I feel so much better. It feels like my art's better, right? So it was kind of like, oh yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, right? Because some people will be like, what do you mean? Like you're making all this money? Like I don't get it, right? But until you're actually in it. You don't really know,
Well, and that goes to show you, right, is that money is not the end result, right?
Not really.
Well, it's not the whole thing, at least, anyways. It's always nice to make it and have it being part of it.
Yeah.
But if that's the only thing driving you, then that can run out pretty quick, right?
Yeah. So. Kind of like against the artist mantra, right?
Yeah. No, exactly.
It's like it's not about the money; it's about the art. It's about the art, right? It's it's as much as someone's willing to pay for it. If your project is worth $10, if your project was worth 10 million, it's whoever's willing to pay that money, right? So it's so subjective. Like who's to say that it's not worth that? Right. So
and you're right, and it's like especially arts in terms of paintings and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't have the eye or the appreciation. I appreciate the work, but I wouldn't be able to appreciate the quality of like a $1 million piece versus something that a 3-year-old drew, right?
You
know what I mean? Where to me they could look the same. Right?
It's like exactly, because we're not painters. Like we don't really understand, the brush strokes and all this stuff. It's like we're not really in that world, right? So same thing with photography. It's like where people aren't in that world. It's like, oh, it's especially now where like everyone has a camera on their phone. It's like, oh, everyone's a photographer because everyone's got a camera. It's like, well, not really, because would you have like a plumber come to your house that didn't go to school for that? Like there is a certain level of knowledge that someone has to know to be able to execute on certain things, and it's almost like the smartphone has almost like not devalued it, but it's made photography like it just becomes so commonplace. It's like you try to sell your services to like a small business, like, oh, can't I just use my phone? You could, but you're not going to get this, right? So I think it goes back to like understanding like what you want to do and what the client wants, and kind of having that Venn diagram of kind of like just having that perfect fit. It's not easy sometimes, like it's
But that's the perfect marriage, right? When you have input coming from both, and you're leveraging both of your ideas and creativity, and coming up with something that you're building together, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like this moment. It's like God. It's like, oh my God, the eureka moment happens.
yeah,
It's like, oh my God, I love you.
yeah.
Let's work together forever.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I had a shoot not too long ago. I've never had a creative director at a shoot before.
Right.
And I did for this one particular shoot. And I didn't know what a creative director did at a shoot, to be quite honest.
They direct,
and it was amazing. Like, but it also because we all worked really well together, right? So you can see how it could conflict as well. Like some photographers might be pretty set in their ways and kind of like, no, we're going to do it this way or whatever. But our dynamic was really good, and it ended up being like a marathon shoot too, dude. It was like an 8-hour shoot.
No way, 8 hours.
I've never shot that long before, but it just went. And before we knew it, it was So, but it was a great shoot. We had lots of great ideas, a lot of synergy, a lot of just creativity, and it was awesome. It was really good. It was the first. I've been since 5 or 6 hours, but 8 hours was a bit of a record for me.
Wow.
But there was a couple of breaks in there, obviously. But
charge the batteries.
But dude, well, seriously, yeah, because I ended up going through a camera battery. Some of the speedlight batteries started going on me, and then it's kind of like, all right, break down the backup.
Shoot in the dark. Everything's black and white now, guys.
But what amazed me the most is that the model was still raring to go. Like after 8 hours, I'm like, are you not tired? Like, how is this even possible?
Wow.
Right? But I was kind of I would have kept going, but like you say, it's a long day. And especially on the model when you're doing a lot of the work and the posing and the smiling and the expressions, and
it's not easy, right?
Wow.
So, who was this person? This creative director? Jeez, what a.
Well, they work together a fair bit actually, and he actually does a lot of video with her. So they've been working together a fair bit. So, but we're going to do some more work together as well. But we've only started posting our stuff, so there's still a lot more to post. Because again, it's still fairly recent. But actually, the one that you looked at, where there was the motion blur, just that long, that was the model that I was working with. So we've got a couple posted, but there's a ton more to come.
Oh man!
So we got a few sets in.
There's a few bangers in there, I guess.
Yeah.
Out of 8 hours, there's a couple ones I like out of 8 hours. I mean, it was a good day.
There's a few keepers.
There's a couple of keepers out of there, So well, it's great when you go in that flow state. When you get in that flow state, things just things just happen. And it's like it's great. You don't have to try. You don't have to you don't have to put any extra effort. It just kind of happens. That's like the best.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, like I don't think I've ever done. Well, I don't think I've done a couple of just headshot shoots that were maybe an hour.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they're usually probably closer to 3 hours, and I find that it just takes a little while to get going. The first set's always a bit of a feeler, kind of get the blood flowing, get the jitters out, get familiar with each other. And I've got a really good window in my studio, so a lot of the times my first set's a natural light set, and which is nice, right? It's kind of an easy going. There's no kind of we don't have to worry about setting up lights or anything like that. We're just going with what's coming in through the window, so it's kind of a nice way to kind of get things going and that sort of thing. So So it's a nice.
You gotta wait to that moment when it just kind of turns.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And then eventually you flip into setting up the lights and start doing all the other fun stuff, right? So
it takes time to make good art, man. It doesn't happen easily.
Yeah.
You need to kind of don't force life. You have to let life unfold a little bit and just see what possible. Because we could have the greatest plan in the world with the greatest gear and everything, and then you show up, it's like, oh, this is a dud for some reason. It's kind of like having an all-star team. Have the best players, but this team sucks.
They're not working together, right?
Not working together, right? It's like a synergy, right? So again, that's why it goes to your point of working with people that you can work with. Everyone likes each other, everyone respects each other, and we're all good to go. So it's a people thing. It's an art thing, but it's also a people thing too. Where especially when you're working with others, it's you have to be able to work with people too. Otherwise, this thing ain't gonna work, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now I got to start trying to find a way to to work some video into in my studio. It's not a big space, right? So I have to kind of be kind of like, a little bit careful about how I do video within studio, but I want to do more of it outdoors, but because I have more outdoors obviously with it, but I still want to use, do some of it in studio as well, just to get familiar with just kind of like, even if just a little bit of front and back, kind of things. You got to be careful panning sideways. Again, you get off the backdrop and then all of a sudden you get all the, all the stuff you don't want to see, right? On the sides.
You could, you could do it both ways. You could do it kind of like an actual shoot, also shoot like behind the scenes almost too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Because sometimes people like but behind the scenes, like how you light it, how you set it up, like people like that stuff, right? So
everybody wants to know what's going on right behind the curtain.
I think people like that because they want to see how you actually did it. It's like, oh, did you actually shoot this, or is this AI kind of thing? It's like, no, like this is how I actually did it. I think, and then that's how you can teach people too, how you did it, and I don't know, it just makes things like more transparent. I think people, especially these days where it's like, sometimes people don't want to like share their secrets, but meanwhile it's like, I mean, again, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just showing you how I did it, and then from there, people can take what you did and they can add their own spice to it, and you know what I mean. But
it's all about sharing. Like, I mean, there's ideas I've taken from other photographers that I've kind of used it and kind of ran with and stuff like that. And and it's just it's kind of a part of the thing, right? Like no one's really got kind of dibs on anything in particular. It's just kind of their idea. They probably got it from someone else as well, right? So it all originated from somewhere. So we're just sort of, you take what you like and you try and work with it and go from there, right? So that's the beauty of creating.
It's not the McDonald's secret sauce that we're hiding. Like it's out there. You know what I mean? Right. Like it's out there. This doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, cool, my God. I don't know. Your dog may want to go for a walk. Like, I don't know. If you want to wrap this up, let me know. But
I've got a few minutes. We can start kind of wrap a little bit. But yeah, this is awesome.
I don't want to make the dog feel lonely. It always goes by fast, man. People always go like an hour. What the hell am I gonna talk about for an hour? I'm like, trust me, it goes by super fast.
Yeah.
Because again, like people don't like. To me, it's like you don't realize how much you know until you start talking about it.
Yeah.
When you start peeling back everything that you do. It's like, man, again, going back to the example of driving a car. You want to teach someone to drive a car, you have to list all the steps. It's a lot of steps.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't. I think it's a good practice for not just on this podcast, but in general. Like sometimes, like go through all your steps and see how much you actually know, because it's a lot.
Yeah, when you start talking about it, you're right, because you gradually add things and start trying new things, but as you start talking about it, all kind of comes out. It's like, oh, okay, well, there's a couple of things.
It's human nature, right? You just kind of like, this is what I do. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And then that can go on for years, and people may not even go through like everything, all the steps, right? Until you start teaching people. It's like, man, I know quite a bit, So I think we always need to like remind ourselves that that we're, sometimes we're better than we think we are. It's like sometimes we get stuck. It's like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. It's like, well, you actually know more than the average person. So.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to get that imposter syndrome, right? Because
that's what I mean, right?
Yeah, you got gear envy and stuff like that. His camera.
So easy. It's so easy to sink into that mindset where it's like, oh, I'm not good enough, or my pictures aren't good enough, or whatever. Like it's just so easy, especially these days. So I think it's always good to remind yourself that no, I'm pretty good. Like there's always room to improve, but like I'm pretty good. Like you just gotta have that mentality of keeping going. Like what you did at the start, you just kind of like picked up the camera and you went through all these like phases and steps, and then. And then you're here, right? So again, you never know what's gonna happen the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know, right? You don't know who you're gonna meet. You don't know what's, so.
Exactly. So we'll see you in some resort at some point, doing some couple stuff.
I see you on a billboard somewhere. I'm gonna ask for that. It's like, what's happening with this guy? He's this podcast. All of a sudden, he's like,
I recognize that guy.
He's on the Gardner Expressway. All of a sudden, like, what's happening? It's interesting, man.
You'll be up there before I am, my friend. But I'll be looking out for you too.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows, man? Life, the world's a really weird place, man. So you just never know what's going to happen, right? But
it is. Absolutely.
That's great, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Do you have any final words for the people out there?
Well, if you're a photographer and you're getting started, get out and play.
Yeah.
Just make it fun, and take the time to learn it. Have fun with it. Find people that you're willing to work with you to just play and have fun. If you're a model and you're wondering if you want to try it, give it a go. Find a photographer you're comfortable with, and just give it a try. You might love it, you may not. At least you tried it, right? And then just go from there. And then at least you've given it a go, and then either do more or move on to something else.
Yeah, exactly. That's the great thing about life. There's always something else to move on to if you don't like something.
Absolutely.
You're not a tree. Move.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever that quote is, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool, Michael. Thanks for coming on. Really love the chat. Hope to have you back on at some other point. And for the people watching, listening, go check out Michael. And links are in the description of this podcast. And if you're in the Toronto, Niagara region, and you're a couple or a single or whatever, and need some shots, Michael is your guy. So anyway, that's
thanks so much.
We shall see you next time. Peace.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Bye for now.